YouTubers, and thank you for tuning in to today's hot, different video on YouTube. It's a very hot day, of course, because I've reached 30 degrees Celsius. Basically, I wouldn't say it's the first time. Records dating back from like 2012 and 1922, and that's insane. I could never ever believe my eyes of just how hot it has been so far this month. What a crazy feeling to be that way, and I've actually just watered some plants earlier on because someone has decided to interrupt my backyard gardening tour around thingamajiggy. But anyways, yes, I might as well just do a complete round of what to tour around, and also I might as well just water the plants with that watering can that's around in the background. Can you see it on the bottom right corner here? Okay. You just see it. There it is. I can just see it right behind me, actually. So, or right in front of me. Okay, let me just start giving a bit of a good tour around on a really hot equatorial / tropical outside. Because, hey, even though it's hot outside, it matches so immaculately to the average temperature, to the normal average temperature that you feel in countries like Indonesia, Thailand, Brazil, and other places like that. Imagine if there were animals and stuff around here, eh? I don't know. I probably wouldn't think so. Okay, the big elephant in the room is definitely not my staff members looking after me. The elephant in the room is to focus on the big backyard garden. And yes, we've got a lot of strawberry plants. I've actually got one, and there's also a second one right over that plant pot. Right, can you see it? It's that big one there at the background. We've got a lot of great news. The strawberries, of course, yes, I did plant strawberries back in around January or February 26, but then, of course, yes, I failed technically because I needed to try and, with a warmer day activity. I could have done like a thing called cold stratification. And yes, as you can see, wow, I actually can't believe this. Right, I need to turn the brightness down so I can show you all of the plants that I've grown so far. This is the sun cream that I use because obviously I'm pretty much not that much, well, let's just say old enough, I suppose. That is, of course, just a kid's sunscreen. But even though it says for kids, I can still use it. Right, I'm going to go ahead and start doing some watering. And I'll showcase some very cool hidden surprises. Let's go. Alright, I'm just going to do it. How about the foot of God shot? That's better, isn't it? Woohoo! Yes! Okay, it's filling up right to the top. Hopefully we can get a very good amount of water to accumulate the rest of my backyard garden. I'm going to turn it off right now because it is getting really, really high. There you go, it's much better. Very much better. I'm going to come along and grab this baby, and I should show you my backyard garden. And I tell you, guys, so hopefully my footage is not going to be and utterly stroppy. And yes, I need to turn the brightness down because it is absolutely scorching hot outside. Of course, it's a blistering, searing day, as you can tell, obviously. And I don't know how humid it is outside because obviously they did say, yes, forecasters, I think it's probably best not to trust them at all because they did say we're going to have some local thunderstorms, but I wouldn't probably trust that. The chances of rain is going to be extremely slim, so I'd probably say 1% will be likely. That's my only guess. But then, hey, let's go ahead and take a look at the rest of my backyard garden. We've got a lot of sunflower seedlings. All of these three, I think this one here has the best condition. That one there, not that much chop. I'd probably say chop as in like, just the massive decays that these seedlings have had to suffer with. That one there is probably the worst. How many aphids and slugs it has been suffered to be destroyed by. But let's go ahead and take. Of course, yes, we've got some broad beans, we've got some strawberry plants, and yes, I did tell you about the plants earlier on because as the hot weather has finally arrived, this overall is a fantastic because obviously once the weather gets really, really hot, it actually speeds up the process for ripening those fantastic looking strawberries. I can't even say romantically, strawberries! And on the background, we got a mixture of what looks like to be calendula seedlings and also zinnia seedlings. And I need to talk about the calendulas next because obviously, I should have said the word next a bit quickly, I think. That one there has started to sink down, which is not a good sign. Calendulas, well, there's one that was here, but then I've broken it off because I think that one there looked like it was dying, so it wasn't great to see. And I think the main aspect with calendulas is that when you start watering these plants, and there's some screaming kids in the background, but I'm going to go ahead and start having a bit of a chit-chat around this immaculate-looking backyard garden, because obviously we've got a lot of amazing things. And if it's a hot day, who knows, there might be a snake slithering around in this backyard garden and just taking the crap out of me. I don't think so. But hey, we've got some nasturtiums. Why do I always prefer snakes around my backyard garden? I don't really have any, like, grass snakes or adders or, smooth snakes. I don't know. Maybe our country is not that diverse in reptiles. Maybe the most common I'd probably see is a lizard, but I'll probably say no for that one. Anyways, without my safari blah blah, as I like to call it, eh? We've got a lot of different plants and weeds along the way, hey? We've got what looks like to be a broadbean, right in between what looks like to be a cluster of nasturtiums. There's also another nasturtium here, and I'm probably presuming those plants might be the stock that was planted from basically the ones I planted last year. So basically they might have been little baby nasturtium seedlings that might have been grown just after the initial breeding cycle from what I did last year. So that is an amazing hope and Hades sort of moment, I suppose. So if I look carefully, there might be a big cluster of big let's just say big numbers of nasturtiums, actually, because, hey, we've got a lot of nasturtiums, actually, and I'm actually really glad of how this is actually going to turn up. I mean, most of the nasturtiums may not flower this year, but the thing is that although I'm seeing quite a big number of nasturtiums, not all of them are going to very much flower, and I'm actually talking about the stock from last year and the little seedlings that have been, well, let's just say, dropped by Mother Nature, because obviously the seedlings have been created by, well, let's just say, of course, there were once flowers, and then, of course, yes, hey, there was the big plant, and now the big plant's died down. Of course, let's illustrate this. The big plant looks like this. Then it sprouts out red, yellow, orange, or pinkish, let's just say whitish, peachy looking flowers. And then overall, the whole plant dies. And then after that, bang, guess what? We got seeds. And then after a lot of seed harvesting, and although I didn't have the chance to harvest most, if not all of the seeds, well, guess what? The nasturtiums have finally brought back to life. Pretty amazing, isn't it? When I plant some of the older stock, when I plant some of the nasturtiums from like last year, I think when I planted some of these in big numbers, mind you, it seems like the nasturtiums have been bred in big numbers, so much so that might benefit from, hey, a lot of climate change debacles behind of what's going on with May of 2026. And I should probably stop rambling on, because obviously there'll be a lot of people saying, hey, what kind of goddamn nonsense is this idiot blabbering about? But hey, let's keep on talking. We've got some pumpkin seedlings. Now, I'm not sure if there's actually quite a lot. I'm not sure if some of these pumpkin seedlings are actually ready or not. I'm just looking carefully if they are actual pumpkin seedlings or not. That might be it, because it looks like, hey, they are starting to come out really fast and very much clear. We've got more nasturtiums along the way. Hey, I think I need to try and transplant some of the nasturtium seedlings in that plastic tub. There's actually quite a lot of them somehow. And yeah, I can start to see big numbers of them. There's some zinnia plants as well. And as you can start to see, hey, I've actually started to water quite a few bits of it. And yes, during that moment, I was actually watering down these plants. And then, yes, one staff member has decided to interrupt my footage and video on purpose. So yes, obviously it's now gone and now started all over again. But I'm going to go ahead and talk over in this. We've got another big nasturtium and another one which looks like that. Then we've also got a broad bean. In fact, we've actually got quite a big abundance of broad beans. And as you can see, we've got quite an abundance of broad beans that I've never ever thought of deciding to plant these guys, but it looks like I did. And it looks like the one right over here, right in between these two nasturtiums, is the one that looks like it's bending from one side. It's bending to one side. Maybe it would have been better off done if I pretty much built some stilts to protect these guys from being blown down by winds. Wouldn't that be nice? Blow wind. That's the British slang of farting, isn't it? Right, obviously we've got a big nasturtium which looks like that. That is actually kind of reminding me of how I used to plant lots and lots of nasturtiums, and I'm actually seeing so many beetles emerging out from the soil because, hey, it has been relatively hot, and that's a perfect condition for the insects and little mini beasts to roam around the backyard garden soils and compost terrains alike. I don't know if I'm pretty much saying it correctly, I think. But let's go ahead and have a bit of a chit-chat around. Up here, we've got more broad beans. The big meadow is actually doing okay. The calendula seedlings, let's have a look. Sadly, these ones have been shriveled down into bits. I think these ones have sadly died. So I should probably start resetting these guys. And actually, going by the looks of it, I think this one might be broken. So, sorry about that. I think these calendulas have pretty much died. That's not a great sign. They have not been watered very well. Oh dear, I might have to probably start throwing this away because, hey, it doesn't look really good at all. I might as well probably think about doing that after making the video. But hey, let's continue. So we've got a mixture of nasturtiums and broad beans and the calendula seedlings, of course, yes. Because of the excessive heat that we have so far during late May, obviously we are going up towards the very last, well, that's just a nail in the coffin sort of days, as I like to call it, for May of 2026. Yes, it is interesting to see why, hey? I feel like I need to wait for about 4 more years to get myself established, or possibly 5 years. Maybe, who knows? I could probably just wait for about 9 years or possibly 10 years. It's going to be quite crazy and how time is going to fly by. Once this backyard garden is going to really develop and shake itself up. And hey, I will still continue to do some more backyard gardening, I hope. And let's just go ahead and grab the watering can and see what plants shall I start to water. Of course, I think these strawberries need a good watering, of course. And the zinnias as well. And actually, yes, this is actually quite stunning to see why I've grown quite a massive chunk load of plants. I feel like I've been dragging them for far too long, haven't I? It feels like I have. There's a nasturtium right here. And there's some broad beans and more nasturtiums. It's quite unusual to see a big cluster of nasturtiums suddenly starting to grow out of nowhere until I realised that these were probably like, well, let's just say, these little baby nasturtiums that I've grown so far, by accident, were actually from the ones I've grown from last year. Now that's actually quite surprising. And there's a very nasty and chunky sized looking dandelion plant, or it could be a thistle, to get rid of. Whoops. And I just hope my calendula seedling has started to survive. Oops. Oh, that was not very good. I just hope this thing lives on as it is. But yeah, I've certainly watered quite a bit of it somehow. I might have to probably do some more watering again because obviously, hey, let me just go back and get some more water via this watering can. Quite a trusty thing, isn't it? Alright, let's turn this thing on and see how much we can start filling right up. Okay, here we go. Oh, yes. Ah, yes. Looking good so far. Okay, let's start doing it. Right, let's give some of our guys a bit of hydrating. Right, let me just go ahead and sit my tablet onto the ledge of the summer house shed thing, as I like to call it, hey? And my sun cream's taking a dive. Damn it! Right, I'm going to turn the bloody brightness down like so. You may not actually realise this, but of course, yes, I'm going to be at the very distance, but I'll talk as loud as I can to show you guys what I'm doing. So yes, I'm watering these guys. I mean, I'm just basically watering so much, but I mean, I'm doing a bit too much. I think I need to water as much as I can, but not too much. Just to give the plants a sparing amount of life. It seems like I have. Oh my crockies. It's a really cranky hot day outside. You can really feel like that. Hey, I can really feel how, oh man, this place is slippery as hell. There's another broad bean. Yes, that's the one that's just started to slip and stuff like that. There's the big nasturtiums. There you go. I'm watering almost every single living plant that I've grown so far. I'm going to water the broad beans at the very further end. Here I go. That's it. I'm going to water as much as I can. Yeah. Looking good so far. And I should water as much around here. That calendula seedling like so. Yeah, pretty good so far, eh? I'm just going to water as much as I can. My crikeys, I can't believe it's an early taste of summer in the late part of May. Who would never ever thought that this was actually going to happen so far? And yes, tomorrow is definitely going to cool down, but I'm probably thinking, hey, it's going to be another scorcher, but not as hot as today. Thursday might probably be hot. Friday, definitely not, but then hey, there you go. That is it. That is the rest of me watering this backyard garden. No, I probably do feel like, hey, have I totally missed the mark? I might as well just come back and have a look and reciprocate of what I've just watered down. And yes, I did add some sunscreen, suntan lotion, sun whatever. You know, sunscreens and sun creams and blah blah. Right, so there you go. I've just watered this amount of planting and stuff like that too. I'll just make sure it's all kept nice and moist. Not too wet because I don't want them to actually drown, especially when it gets too hot. So yes, I think most of the plants are quite drought tolerant, but they still really require a regular amount of watering. I might be totally wrong, but it really depends on what species of plant am I really watering here. And yes, we've got a lot of like nasturtiums, the big nasturtiums. It almost looks like the way I did back in 2025. And we've got some parakeets. Now that's a tropical feeling, isn't it? Very tropical. And alongside that, hey, it looks sort of cool, isn't it? We've got a lot of amazing plants that have grown so far. You know, lots of meadow type plant things, which is actually quite nice so far. And then there's some broad beans, pretty nice beans, as you can see. Hey, I wonder how much they're going to grow as long as the hot sun is pretty much still present. Of course, yes, some people hate it, some people love it, but then, hey, that's pretty much the norm about people talking about this whole climate change debate. Obviously, I'm really into climate change, but I wouldn't say it's that much of a thing that has been totally nutly agreed upon by many people. It's a name and shame of whoever's debating about this. The strawberries here, those ones there, they need a bit more sunlight. They need to ripen a bit. And yes, I added some strawberry. I think the plant pot that I've just used, it's just a basic plant pot. But what I'm actually on about is the hay that I used. It's not actually sawdust. That's actually from old dried up grass that was actually from someone else's lawn. I think someone must have came along and mowed the lawn from out of nowhere, and that's actually quite a very cheap and free, or should I just say, a freezy way of getting some of that stuff. What a great pun, hey? So we've got more nasturtium seedlings, and I'm sweating as hell. But hey, yeah, this is actually quite good. And then we've also got some big white roses right at the background. A fantastic sighting to see. Pretty awesome, isn't it? We've got a lot of other plants coming right up, which is actually quite good. More nasturtiums. I'm actually so glad to see. This is actually amazing. The number of nasturtiums I've grown so far, they're actually bouncing back in their big numbers. And it's quite unusual to see quite a lot of nasturtiums spiking back their numbers ever since, like, you know, well, let's just say last year. And last year was an absolute freak of nasturtiums just because of how hot and dry the summer that we just had from last year. I think this year might be a repeat of it, but I might be totally wrong. Maybe a tad wetter, but I wouldn't probably guess so. I'm probably presuming next year might also be a bit dry as well. I might as well do some digging for a bit. Maybe around a few patches around here. Maybe some of the few unsafe bits. You know, some of them which have got like nasty, spiky, let's just say dandelion weed type things. I'm just going to go ahead and start digging. And as it's quite good to dig, I've also got some better coverage to try and make the most of where I should also try and transplant. Yes, I'm trying to get rid of some of the nasty bits of weeds and other whatnot. That there can be gone. Yep, this is totally me doing a massive walkthrough of just editing this backyard garden. Woo! Right. Obviously this looks quite good. I'm just going to try and get rid of some of these nasty weeds. Not only to eradicate them because they look so dangerous, but I'm also going to prepare accommodating some of the other plants that I'm also going to include in my backyard garden. And yes, that was me flicking it right over to the other side of my backyard garden. And I'm probably promising, hopefully with a hope and Haiti here, I'll try and make sure that I'm not damaging the big nasturtiums. We've got a dandelion plant that can be got rid of. Oh man, that was me trying to eradicate these nasty bits of things away. I try and make sure not to step on the nasturtiums because they are my babies, and I've just broken off the entire thing. Right, I'm just going to go ahead and start digging this a bit. Oh man, there's a lot of worms in here. I'm just basically just throwing these goddamn weeds away. How about this one here? That one there can be gone. Yes. Oh, don't you like it when I just thrash the weeds back? Pretty awesome, isn't it, eh? It's like I'm catapulting the weeds back, and I'm just gonna get rid of the bigger ones at the very background. Oh, yes. That's better. I think I need to go and get H2O. Yep. Totally and utterly safe. Well, who knows how safe is it going to be when I'm doing a bit of backyard gardening. Right. As long as I'm not stepping too much on the offspring that I've just planted from last year. There you go. This looks oh so good. I've just cleared away most, if not all, of the larger sized weeds. There's also this spiky dandelion thing which I'm going to get rid of. Horrible things. Or is it a thistle? I can't really tell if it's either a dandelion or a thistle. They look totally and utterly identical. Yep. Ding heaven. How cool would that be? And there's another one right here. Come on, you! You freak! Get out of here! And I failed. I've totally failed on this one. Right. Is it looking good? Oh, I think it looks totally and utterly good. Hopefully I should probably come back in another time to transplant because I am sweating as hell. My face. Can you believe my face? I am sweating as hell. Basically. Right, I'm just going to go ahead and start retreating back indoors because obviously it is getting way too hot for my comfort. And that is it for today's backyard gardening video. And I'm actually finally glad I finally brought back this series of me doing some backyard gardening tours. So far, so good. It feels like, hey, it's a case of hope and Hades, and there you go. My backyard garden is looking totally and utterly loaded up for the rest of summer of 2026. But I'm pretty sure which plant is going to survive will depend on how much time will I water these guys up. Of course, yes, I'll water these guys every morning, like today, tomorrow, and the rest until autumn and winter bites back again. So if you really enjoyed this video, please make sure to make the most of the heat responsibly, because even though you're going to pretty much say, hey, summer of 2026 is going to be really awesome, well then it's a case of climate change and global warming and something that you're going to get completely and utterly remorseful of, because hey, we humans just keep on polluting and looting the earth. Oh, that's a shame. But anyways, hey, please make sure to respect your body as long as you're keeping yourself cool. In the middle of a hot day like so. Of course, yes, hey, who knows, I could probably make a video on how to keep cool on a really hot day, or some really cool life hacks in a summer day like this. So, if you really enjoyed in this very long and very strange video about me talking about my backyard garden, especially the amount of offspring of nasturtiums I planted from last year, they're bouncing back into action. Please give this video a very good like, subscribe for more Flip Flap videos in the future, and as always, thank you so much for watching. And bye for now, and I hope this backyard garden tour around has been somewhat different than what I've just expected. Okay, that's it again. Bye now.